An intricate web of blue lines stretches across the torso of the hanged man, from the right shoulder to the solar plexus. Each time the lines intersect, a small white star is formed in their crossing. Hundreds of fading asterisks riddle his skin. Their concentration is highest around his heart. It still kind of looks like a map of the stars in the night sky, but gone for you to discover. The face of King Freecell smiles at you. For some reason, the smile now strikes you as more forced than it did before. Unsurprisingly, much of this section is taken up with articles declaring unqualified support for the dock workers' strike. You skim the headlines. Paint the harbor red and white. Martinez tames the wild pines. A city in revolt. Finally, there's a brief article by the writer, G. Martin, accusing the owner of the Capeside Apartments of illegally attempting the eternal problem, according to G. Martin, is that under capitalism, the worker is rendered incapable of perceiving their own agency or lack. Thus, they tend to experience their own oppression as though it were happening to somebody else. You flip back to the front of the magazine. It's just a racist, but it will not happen. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, your face, adorned with the expression.
Morning. I've got some good news. I took care of the body. The thought of him decomposing in my MC wouldn't let me sleep. I'm just glad he's gone. We have other matters to attend to.
Oh well, we'll get the armored boots in another lifetime.
The Union muscle finally turned up, and they look rowdy. We need to talk to them. Everything points to the dock workers' union. The belt used for hanging him, tracks in the mud, the circumstances in Martinez, my preliminary information. Which may, of course, all be wrong. But we still need to talk to them, and it won't be easy. I mean ungovernable. Martinez isn't exactly enthusiastic about the RCM being here. They prefer to be policed by the Union. These men here. Men who drink beer for breakfast? There's talk of an armed wing of the Union called the Hardy Boys, who are responsible for state policing. I think it's them. I completely forgot. Sorry, I had a rough night's sleep. It's them by the looks of it. Loud and nasty, just like the manager said. One loose thread less to worry about, and one big problem to replace it. That would just escalate tensions. No captain would sign off on it. Solving one murder isn't worth a conflict between the RCM and the Debarders Union. In fact, even the death of 2 detectives might not warrant an all-out war. So let's keep a cool head, okay?
He's not exaggerating about that mortal danger, just calmly factoring it in. Your fists clench and your pulse rises uncomfortably.
One more thing before we do. We don't have to talk to them immediately. We can walk right past them, continue with our business.
Good. A power move. Purposefully concentrate on something else first. Yeah, streetwise. Zoom right past. Do it on your own terms.
They're in no hurry to leave. They think they own the place. Anyway, I leave that choice to you. Whatever you decide.
Just a moment.
She's agitated, judging from the way she keeps pulling at the frayed edge of her blanket.
And there's no public phones nearby?
The closest phone booth is down the coast. Sorry for the inconvenience, ma'am.
It's fine, I understand. Thank you anyway. Please don't trouble yourself about me, sweetie. I was just hoping to make a call, but the Whirling's the union office probably has a phone, but I can't really get there. The manager was vague about it.
Why would he be vague about phone problems? This is something to look into later. Ask God, maybe.
To let the young woman who's house-sitting for us know that we may be delayed. Morel, my husband, and our friend Gary were supposed to get back by Monday night, but they're still missing, and I haven't heard from them. I was also hoping she'd heard from Morel. That's just it. This isn't like him at all. He always plans his expeditions so carefully.
A cold breeze hisses through dense thickets of reeds. Something sweet in it, somnolent. A damp chill goes down your spine. When you look around, you're still in the whirling in rags.
But you have more important things to worry about. Just some field work, sweetie. Morel is a highly trained scientist. He and his assistant Gary are studying an extremely rare species of insect. But they should have returned by now. They were just going down the coast across the water lock to set a few traps. He said they'd be back on Monday. What could be keeping them?
The water lock, that was broken. Could this be it?
Oh, sweetie, it's nothing like that. Gary's as loyal as they come. I trust him with my husband's life any day. Oh my, what happened to the water lock? Well, whatever the cause, I'm thankful. To both of you. You've spared me another sleepless night.
You're welcome.
I hate to ask, but if your investigation takes you to the other side of the coast, please do keep an eye out for my husband.
Yes, some left-field scientific research is exactly what you need right now. Funk up that vanilla murder investigation.
And if you see him, let him know Lena is waiting for him here at the Whirling. He gets so tangled up in his work that he may not know the water. Oh, you're such a dear. Thank you, sweetie. Oh, sweetie, it's fascinating. But I shouldn't bore you with intimate life.
The lieutenant gives you a sideways glance.
Well, it's a phasmid, technically, but Where other phasmids imitate sticks or leaves, this one's a living reed. Hence its name, the Insulindian phasmid. Perhaps you'll end up co-discovering the phasmid with us, officers.
There's a touch of awe in the way she enunciated the creature's name.
To be honest, this animal sounds like a cryptid. You wouldn't happen to be searching for some kind of gnome of Jeroma, would you?
I smell pseudoscience, he's thinking. Not a big fan of that.
It's simply elusive. So much so that most establishment zoologists...
Establishment. I thought so.
Yes, it can blend in almost perfectly among the reeds. It's how it stayed hidden all these years, centuries even. Well, some teenagers making out in the reeds saw one. They didn't know what it was, of course, but there was a brief article in a local newspaper about their encounter with a ghost insect that looks like the reeds. Gary sent us the clipping. Of course, most phasmid sightings turn out to be false alarms, but their description matched the Insulindian phasmid.
Enthusiasm has wiped the worry from her face. Her eyes sparkle behind her glasses.
I suppose I have something of a personal connection to the Insulindian phasmid. All scientists have their little hobby horses. Not at all. Why else would it hide itself so carefully? Oh, I doubt it. No one gets into cryptozoology for the money, sweetie. Oh dear. I'm afraid I'm not explaining this very well. It is very special. Morel can explain it all much better. I wish you could hear him describe it. Then you'd understand, I'm sure. Oh, yes. A zoologist. A cryptozoologist, to be more precise.
It's a pseudoscience that attempts to legitimize research into mythological beasts and urban legends.
That's one opinion, yes.
She's used to playing...
My apologies, ma'am. I did not mean to undermine your hobby.
It's not a hobby, dear. It's a subfield of zoology, one specializing in animal species that are so exceedingly rare that many assume them to be extinct or even fictitious. Searching for such species called cryptids is difficult and often thankless, and frankly, many scientists are too lazy to do it. Universities these days are rarely interested in supporting real research. Oh dear, I'm not sure where to begin. Well, his expression is slightly grumpy, but his eyes are always bright and curious, like a small boy's, and his palms are quite coarse from all the field work. Oh, well, he's a bit shorter than you, but with a larger frame, and he has longish white hair, usually a bit uncombed. You might say wild.
The lieutenant pulls out his notebook.
One other thing, he'll likely have all kinds of field gear on him, even if he's not out in the reeds, you know, just in case. We'll be celebrating our 16th anniversary this autumn. Not the most numerically satisfying anniversary, but I like the less obvious milestones even more somehow. Via dating agency, I'm ashamed to say. I was looking to get back into the scene after recovering from my accident. And he'd just divorced. We hit it off, and, well, here we are. Well, his expression... Oh,
The lieutenant...
one other thing. He'll likely have... I hope I've been useful.
There's really no point in manipulating anyone. She'd be only too pleased to tell you about her work. Go on and ask.
Oh, I'd be delighted. Truth be told, I could really use the company too.
One cryptid, not a couple. One. This won't turn into some kind of cryptid extravaganza.
He nods and assumes a way. Cryptids. Let's hear about all the interesting cryptids. Ooh, tough choice there.
That would be the giant of Kokonur. The giant lives in the most arid parts of the vast Kokonur Desert in South Samara, casting a strange light across the barren wastes. Mirage or psychogenous luminance. No one knows for sure. It is like an awful mountain appearing from below the horizon and expanding to cover almost a third of your field of vision. The towering luminosity of Kokonur is a bad omen in local folklore. Some say it's a fata morgana, others, fate unimaginable.
Hooey. No animal can be that large. It's a mirage.
That's what makes it so peculiar. A species surviving at the very limits of scientific law. The giant of Kokonur must be the largest animal the planet can support. There are limits, you see, to how large a metabolism an ecosystem can beget. Some say a gravity anomaly below the Kokonur Desert might allow the creature to grow to these gargantuan sizes.
Gravity anomaly? Digging it. Digging this parascientific stuff right here.
Hey, you promised you'd only ask about one cryptid.
The lieutenant pauses, thoughtfully.
Ah, fuck it. Let's have more cryptids.
Well, the smallest cryptid is the Cryobacter catlensis, a unicellular bacterium. It was discovered in one of the northernmost points of Katla on the Boreal Plateau by renowned geologist Caitlin Mijanou some 70 years ago. The bacterial colony Mijanou found had remained alive while frozen in ice for longer than anyone could reliably estimate, certainly from before recorded history. Mijanou disappeared shortly after injecting herself with the bacteria she had brought back to study, no doubt in hopes of prolonging her own life. Yes, the bacteria had survived in the ice since times immemorial. It is not hard to see where she could have gotten the idea.
It's actually a little hard to see, but do go on.
Yes, and she's quite mad, too. After she treated herself with the bacteria, she stopped aging, but also became increasingly eccentric and irascible, so that even her oldest friends were forced to pull away. We can assume that she has been living somewhere in the wilderness for decades now, all alone except for the Chrilpie catlensis coursing through her bloodstream. The gnome of Jeroma. Oh, yes. None of its victims survived. Grieving relatives never even found their bodies because the gnome's venom dissolved organic tissue. It was reportedly a small creature with webbed fingers and a protruding forehead and an ungainly little thing. Quite scary to look at. A couple of campers found it when it was already dying. They heard an odd wailing in the woods and followed the sound. They were scared and wrapped it in tarpaulin to suffocate it. It still took the gnome of Jeroma an entire day to die.
If the body of the creature was found, why aren't there detailed illustrations of it in science textbooks, confirming the existence of this very little species?
Alas, the first scientist who got his hands on the creature's corpse put it in a jar of formaldehyde, thinking that would detoxify the gnome's venom. Instead, all the venom leaked out of the creature's teeth and into the surrounding liquid, dissolving the creature itself. A poetic end, perhaps, but a real loss for science. What an interesting question. And the answer is yes, there are.
Of course. All fairy tales have someone or something invisible in them.
It's the Col de Mama d'Aqua. Its name means thin whisper of sound, and that's precisely what it is. Self-replicating sound waves, invisible and intangible. The Col de Mama is very afraid of us, which makes it incredibly difficult to track. It could be. As I said, it could be everywhere. And we wouldn't know any better. It could be ringing all the days of our lives and nights.
Maybe it's predatory.
It's not. Don't worry. If it were predatory, we would have found it by the damage it inflicts.
I wouldn't be so sure. What if the damage is also invisible?
Like nothing. It's such a high-pitched sound that us humans can't hear it, nor can other animals. It could be ringing right outside your window and you wouldn't even know it. Could be anywhere. Everywhere, even.
Fine, I'll bite. How can an animal be a sound?
Many scientists have asked the same question. Some have claimed that it isn't itself a sound, but a tiny corpuscle that emits sound waves. But there's no evidence to support this theory. Plenty. It's the evidence that led to its discovery. In the 20s, a group of Areopagite ornithologists, that is, scientists who study birds, were trying out a new recording technology for capturing sounds outside the range of human hearing. When playing back recordings they had made in the foothills of the Ea mountain range, they noticed certain anomalies, patterns that seemed random at first, but on closer examination were consistent with the waveforms of songbirds. The scientists soon discovered they could track and even predict what appeared to be feeding, mating, and migration patterns based on sound waves in a strictly delimited range of ultrasonic frequencies, even higher than those of the highest-pitched bat calls. They realized that they had discovered a new species and called it the Coldamamadaqua, after the Paracanassian name for the voice of God, which is said to be very silent. They grew quite obsessed with these little birds. Even though they couldn't see them, they could distinguish among individual birds and even began to name some of them. Sequester, Time, Joscan, those are but some of the Mamadaqua they followed individually. That is a sad story. A group of university students assisting with the field work in their enthusiasm for the project, and no doubt because they were preoccupied with impressing their professors, nearly drove it to extinction. They tried to communicate with it and had no other means but sound, so they started sending out sound waves at frequencies they thought might match the Mamadaquas. And what happens when a sound wave meets another sound wave of the same frequency, dear? No, dear. They cancel each other out. And these tests were performed so recklessly that when they happened upon the right frequency, well, they wiped out most of the population. After that, the corpuscle appears to have migrated elsewhere. There have been recordings of anomalies similar to those spotted in Ea, but they've been few and far between. It's impossible to confirm the presence of any stable Coldamamadaqua population anywhere.
Of course. A common thread in these. Disappearance and unfalsifiability. I like the story, though, ma'am.
I'm glad you did, dear. What about what? Of course, dear.
You know, to hell with.
Of course, officers. Of course, dear.
Hey, so we've been monitoring you internally, and now we know your Copo type. Yes, guess what's yours? That is only a ludicrous daydream. Guess again. You're the... No, you're the sorry cop. The cop who's sorriest. Let's make it official then, shall we? No, you don't. Come on. You'll be back to saying sorry in 2 minutes. Wow. Okay. Fuck off. Maybe... some kind of superstar. They say the world isn't ready for a rock and roll cop. No one wants their state monopoly on violence to be mixed with celebrity worship. They claim to know it would be dangerous for detectives to rise to the ranks of demigods and have sexual encounters with barely legal cover girls. It would be insane, they say. To all this, you say, fuck off and die, in a cool voice. You people have no idea how good these cops are gonna get. They're gonna crack 20 cases a day. In the future, cops will be like astrophysicists, or prime ministers, or prophets. And you're the first one.
Can I help you? Got the 20 real? Then why are you wasting my time and yours? Can I help you? Do I have a shaker in my... Am I smiling? Do you see me smiling? That's right, I'm the cafeteria man.
Play it calm. This man needs to understand you need a drink.
Well, you're not getting...
This is a thoughtful exchange, but can we move on, please?
Do I have a shaker in my... Am I smiling? That's right.
Play it calm. This man needs...
Even more reason for me not to serve you, sir. Do I have a shaker in my... Am I smiling? That's right.
Play it calm. This man needs to...
Like what?
Let me handle this. Detective disorientated. Are you still wondering where you are?
Her entire character has shifted. This young woman is cold as ice.
No, I am not a gardener. I'm a legal counselor for the Dock Workers Union. So let's get to it. You're looking for Titus Hardy? That's Titus. Talk to him. But know this. I'll be keeping an eye on you.
It doesn't matter if you recognize our authority. We will make an arrest, if we have to.
She says nothing. You're sure easily mentioned something about a lawyer, Elizabeth someone. But you're too dumb to remember what it was.
Like I already told you, I'm a legal counselor. Do you have hearing problems? What you want is of no significance, officer. Don't test your authority. In Martinez, you are no one. What are we going to do to you? The Union isn't going to do anything to you. It is not a crime syndicate.
Goddamn right.
If anything, it is the RCM who do things to aggressive. You make your living enforcing violence. These people are just dock workers.
So you were spying on us, and now you represent murder suspects. Just dock workers.
Listen, you moral intern lackeys. You're a mob, enforcing the unlawful privatization of Revachol. 20 fat men in the Occident are stealing it all, and you're their bodyguards.
Fuck yeah.
So ask what you came to ask, or get back to your commanders. I don't need privatization peons.
This is where you say your bit.
Detective.
Wow. The RCM sent us some big dick cops.
Real big dick cops. Look at them, reckless, swinging in the wind.
Yeah, look at the big dick on that cop. Can't tell a dick that big what to do.
Must be something in the water in Jamrock.
Yeah, gave them real nice big dicks.
Yeah. Anyways.
You might want to start asking your questions now. It's not going to get better than this.
Do a head count first. Connect these men to the tracks you saw in the yard. Starting from the right. Boot size 44. Blonde man, in his 30s. Overbearingly masculine, sitting on his right. Standard working boots. Size 45 or 46. Eldest in the room. Probably mid-50s. Smoker. Quiet. Across, at the other table, hobnailed working boots. Size 43. Gang tattoos. Mesk or Sarah Mauritian, in his late 30s. A symmetric burn on his neck, resembling the letters Loss Loss. Has he tried to burn it off? Leave that life behind? And then, standard working boot. Steel reinforced toes. Size 46. The big dick. Wide at the shoulders and lean at the hips. Rugby cap. Fingerless gloves. And numerous scars. A little under 40. The emblem on his vest says Rowing Club. A little patch below it reads T. Hardy, Captain, in the far corner. Standard working boot. Steel reinforced toes. Size 44. 40-something. Non-alcoholic beverage in hand. Size 41. With the light step. Not a child, after all. An older man with a rat face. Mean, watery eyes. And two in the middle, heaving and wheezing. Big guy. Boot size 46. Deep marks. Probably carried the victim over. He, alone, is 130 kilos. In conclusion, these 7 are the actors on the crime scene. The footprints were theirs, but there's a discrepancy. Exactly. You've stood there for about 4 seconds, not saying anything. Hit them with questions. Where's the 8th Hardy?
The fuck is with you, fella? So, you're not just here to swing your big dick. You're here for the pretty boy. A real looker, that one. Stinks like shit, too.
They love him, boss. Spend all day digging around in...
Funny. But my partner and I have a serious matter to discuss with you.
Container belt, like we use in the harbor? Because we took it from the harbor where we work. Then we went out back and used it to hang him.
As he speaks, his fists contract, going through the pulling motion again, savoring it.
We did this together, all of us, until he was dead. That's why there's a container belt around his neck.
There's a catch hidden somewhere. He didn't confess so that you could take them all away. It's too simple.
There is no catch. These 7 honest men have all equally come forth to tell you what happened, so that you don't waste any more of your time. Are you deaf? There will be no singling anyone out. Do you think you could do that? Do you think you could arrest them all?
Who do you fucking think does?
It wasn't a question, dickwad. How fucking stupid are you?
This asshole is worse than... Titus runs the Hardy Boys, genius. That's why we're called the Hardy Boys. Ain't that right, fellas?
I think you got your answer, Mr. Law.
Yes, there are some administrative differences. But on that night, They all acted as one man.
How many people have you sent to the Shays? Ever felt remorse for them?
Or send them to Reunion to rot. For 20 years. For life.
Rest assured, lawman. None worse than our guy. He got what was coming to him. Why? 'Cause he was worthless mercenary scum. And he stepped out alive in my town. And he stepped out of line.
What kind of mercenary?
The kind that shows up when you start a strike. The experienced kind, too. Had Cohoy and Semenine written all over him. Ex-Oranese Special Forces.
A live grenade. Right here in our bar.
I can't prove it, but I know he was sent by the Wild Pines. They hire merc shit like that. Story of every strike from here to Samara.
'Cause one night, he walked straight up to the mic and said, I'm Oranese goddamn Special Forces, and I'm gonna fuck you all.
Really?
Yeah, really. Had a gin and tonic up there, sang some Oranese paratrooper song, and said he's gonna fuck everyone.
We couldn't believe it either, but he fucking did, right there. Like some kind of animal.
This is a serious violation of the karaoke code.
Wrong. He harassed women, raped one, harassed workers, threatened to kill some as a warning.
There's slight unease in him, suddenly. He regrets mentioning the rape.
To kill us all, if we don't open the gates, if we don't let the scabs in, if we don't bend over. That was before he started coming here.
Yeah, he said it was his favorite joint now. Started coming here every night. Drinking, grabbing girls. Grabbed one of ours mid-karaoke, right there on the stage.
He grabbed someone?
Yeah. This girl's on the mic. A beautiful girl, young. Gets into the second verse of Lover Lake. The fucker grabs her legs, starts screaming. Show me your cunt! Why don't you show me your cunt? Then, he gets knocked on the head with a wine bottle. Doesn't even fall down.
Aren't you fucking listening? My man is talking to you. He took care of it. They got the girl out before anything else could happen.
Yeah, me and Eugene got her out. Aren't you fucking listening?
No. You're not getting the name. That's a Martinez matter. And I'm not discussing it with you clowns.
There's nothing you can do for now. He's stonewalling you.
You don't have to keep answering his questions.
I know, Lizzie. Relax. We killed him last Sunday night. Seemed like a good way to end the week.
Known him? We don't associate with scum like that, asshole.
Yeah! Who do you think we are?
Quiet. He came around about 3 weeks ago when that Pines cow first sailed into town. Happy?
By the Pines cow, you mean Joyce Messier?
No. I mean the Pines cow. The stupid-ass cow they sent in to fuck us over. But you know what? Why don't you ask her about the pretty boy? I'm sure she has interesting things to say when you ask her hard enough.
That's enough insinuation for today, Titus. Officer, your interview is drawing to an end. Don't waste your last questions.
We hanged him up by his neck until he got real still. Wasn't that obvious?
Didn't they teach you anything at the cop school?
The autopsy showed there were no ligature marks. His hands were not tied. Can you explain that?
The lieutenant goes in for the leg sweep. Titus does not see it coming.
Look, I'm not gonna play 20 questions with you, capo. I'll say it again. We killed him.
Yeah, I knocked him out. Came up behind him and clapped him in the back of the head. He went down like a sack of sand.
That's right, lawman. And then we hanged the fuck.
Titus is solid as a rock, and so are a few others. But Elaine, who looks like he might be Titus's right-hand man, the least antsy of the bunch, definitely not his first time being questioned by the police. This little rat-faced fellow is solid, too. Always fidgety, yes, but no change there, him neither. Mostly keeps to his tomato juice, or whatever he's got there. A single sentence would wear him out. He can't take the length of the questioning. Keep it going long enough, and he'll crack.
No. Of course he's having trouble breathing. Just look at how fucking fat he is.
Fuck off, Shanky. Angus is a powerful guy. All muscle.
Keep your eye on this powerful guy. Sooner or later, he's going to break like a piece of twig.
Right fucking here. Eugene already told you that the fuck had started coming to our bar.
Yeah, man. Weren't you listening?
My fucking elbow, Copper. Samaran boxing style.
And fuck you, too, Copper. Picking on Angus like this. We're done with this schoolyard shit. And just so you know, he doesn't have trouble breathing.
This one is a stone wall. You won't get more out of them.
Like what, Copper? Yeah, lawman. Why don't you?
It's almost an anthropological sight, watching him try to assert dominance over you.
Not in the arresting mood?
A fearful readiness, like an electrical charge, raises hairs in the room. By your side, the lieutenant keeps his hand away from his holster. You hear the nylon of his coat hiss as he steps closer, while the little rat-faced man reaches into his sleeve. There's a knife in there. Some of the others reach for their belts. Their eyes are light.
Look, Coppers, I know you think you're doing your job here, but there are 7 of us, and 2 of you.
That's an Easter 50, a Ziemsk-made monstrosity. It'll blow your head clean off. The last thing you hear is a little murmur. Not a blast, not an echo. No one screams. It's more dead cops. Sad news from the district of Martinez, as the bodies of 2 police officers are found floating in.
This is where you say your bit.